Done now as well. Now's the re-engage, the dunk over the top, and Huni only hits onto one. There's the pullback, and look at the bullet time over the top. It's 3 kills, make it 4, and Huni gets slowed again. It's the ace for TSM.
Hey guys, this is Bjergsen, the coach for TSM, and I'll be doing a Syndra guide today. I always like to pair Syndra with a physical damage jungler. Like I think Syndra Lee Sin has always been a really strong combo. And honestly, having as much physical damage as you can in the team, because Syndra is a really strong burst mage, and if they are not buying a lot of magic resist and buying things like Merc Treads, it's a lot easier to combo, it's a lot easier to burst people down. So I think trying not to pick her when you have too much magic damage in the team, because it makes Merc Treads a really valuable item. But other than that, she's pretty flexible, pretty safe pick. She has ability to peel for herself, obviously, with her E, but she also is someone that can start fights, make picks. She's like a really versatile champion compared to a lot of other mages. Well, I know that Phase Rush is getting nerfed now, but Phase Rush is kind of the solid option with Inspiration second. I think the other option that you could go is obviously Electrocute with either Inspiration or Sorcery second. It offers you a little bit less safety because you don't have as much mobility. So when your stun is down, you're extremely vulnerable, but you have just more burst potential and stronger trading in lane. Starting items is very simple. You either go Doran's Ring or Seapot. She does use a lot of mana now. Classic option. I think you can go Liandry's if they have a lot of champions who are really high on health or tanks. But Syndra's strength is never really being a tank killer, so you probably want to pick her in situations where the enemy team is a little bit more squishy and you can go for the Ludens. I think also early Void Staff as a second item is typically pretty popular because Syndra just really wants to one-shot people. And after that, it's just standard mage items. You can buy Zhonya's if you need Zhonya's. Obviously, Death Cap is always solid. It's a little bit more situational based on what you need. I suggest always trying to be a little bit more on the greedier side, especially in solo queue, and then you can always scale back from there and kind of learn from, oh, okay, I built too offensively and it didn't really work out. So typically I just go for the more aggressive kind of Void Staff Death Cap build, but of course in some games you absolutely need Zhonya's if you're playing against like a Fizz or a Zed or really, really heavy dive. You really need the Zhonya's to be able to survive at all. I think one of the biggest things for Syndra now is just to be aware of your mana costs. Her mana costs are definitely higher now, so you can't just spam your Q to infinity as much as you want. I think at a high level, a lot of players use kind of the EQ combo rather than doing QE. You start with the E and you put the ball at max range and the stun will still go through, especially if they are within your E range. They're not really far away, then it extends the CC because they'll first be pushed back and then stunned, and more difficult way to play against. But you can also do very basic trading, like just poking with Q, or you can lead with your W, and then if you hit the W slow, it's going to be a lot easier to hit QE afterwards. And if you're running Electrocute, that's going to proc Electrocute. A lot of playing around being vulnerable is just really your positioning, and also choosing the rune based on what the enemy team comp looks like. There are just, especially if they have a lot of slows or they have a lot of ways of getting on you, then typically Phase Rush is a better option because it provides a lot more safety. If you feel like they don't have too much threat, maybe they are low range or they don't have too many kind of assassins or champions that are going to get onto you, you can be a little bit more greedy with Electrocute. I guess the most important thing on Syndra really is just not wasting your stun, not throwing kind of a low percentage stun, because it's going to make you really easy to kill for the next 10-15 seconds. I think also when you have a lot of mana or you have blue buff, just spamming your Q as much as you can, because your ult will obviously do more damage the more balls that you have on the ground. So especially if you're going into a team fight, you're kind of at a standoff around Dragon, just spamming Q on the ground so that when the fight gets started, your ult does as much damage as possible. And also you can use your Q, in a way to create more space on the stun as well. I think the last one that's really useful is just thinking about your ult into E combo in teamfights, especially if you have a lot of Qs on the ground. If you ult maybe a frontliner or someone who's more close to you or in the middle of the fight, you can E afterwards and pretty much stun the whole team. That can really be a complete game changer in the teamfights. For Syndra, there's a lot of ways. I think Syndra has really great gank setup. She has a slow, she has a stun, she has decently strong laning after like level 5, so you can definitely manipulate the wave and set up a gank. She also has strong roam, and you can easily roam and kind of dive the side lanes. She's a little bit less powerful in the early game than she used to be, but I think just any champion that has burst and a long range stun like that, you have a lot of opportunities to snowball. I think setting up ganks and looking to roam and dive side lanes are the primary ways that I usually do it. I think I usually use classic, or is it the T1 skin? Faker skin? I think those are usually the ones that I use. I think just the water, and I don't know what they're called, but there's like the water one and the light one. I think those are disabled in competitive play because especially for the light one, the balls are really hard to see on the ground. So I guess if you want elo, probably go with I think it's called the Justicar Syndra, the light one, because the balls are really hard to see on the ground, I feel like. So you can kind of cheat some stuns in lane if you want to abuse that skin.
A special thanks to our sponsor, GamerSensei. If you're looking to improve your gameplay, there's no better way than getting personalized one-on-one coaching from the pros themselves. Visit gamersensei.com by clicking the link in the description. And for more .esports content, make sure to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date.